Last season, the Oklahoma City Thunder were one of the most fun and surprising teams in the league. Seeing how all these young players came together under Coach Mark Daigneault to accelerate this rebuild into a play-in team was one of my favorite parts of the season. And the entire time I was watching them, one thing just couldn't leave my mind. This team still doesn't even have Chet Holmgren. The Thunder were 13th in defensive rating and built a lot of their identity on their strong defense. They have a ton of lengthy, switchable defenders from 1 to 4, and their only real hole was finding a consistent 5, having to slot in players like Poku, Jalen Williams, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl into that 5 position. Despite this, the Thunder were good to middle of the pack when it comes to interior defense. They ranked 16th in opponent points in the paint at 50.7 per game, 10th in opponent rim field goal percentage at 65.5%, and 12th in opponent field goal percentage within 6 feet at 62.5%. While all these numbers are good and impressive in their own right, I bring them up to show where I think OKC could realistically be a top 5 defense with Chet on the court finally. Chet is listed as 7'1" with a pretty monstrous 7'6" wingspan, and you can see why he will immediately improve their interior defense. There's rarely a shot he can't block or contest because of his just pure size, mixed with his already impressive feel for the game defensively. Look at this play versus Utah. The offensive player makes a pretty good spin to create what would usually be enough space for a quick layup, but Chet is simply just too long and still gets a solid hand on it. It's in the fundamentals here too. The second the offensive player picks up the ball, Chet shuffles quickly right where he needs to be to block it. Or here, he does a quick little hop step to cover the ground between him and the shooter before using that crazy length I was talking about to firmly block this 3-point attempt. The Thunder ranked in the bottom 10 in blocks per game. It had no real consistent rim defender like a Chet Holmgren, and they definitely could have used one. He has some really advanced footwork, tracking with his man and never launching from too far, finding the perfect spot to get up and send shots. Look here how once again that height and wingspan means he can reach out and get a quick tip of another 3-point shot. Or here, he stays with his man, hand up, and can easily palm block the shot. One of the biggest criticisms and worries about him has always been his weight. It's no secret Chet is skinny, especially for his height, which would make most people assume he's a defensive liability and easily bullied, but he's much stronger than he looks. Look here how much the offensive player is banging into his chest and shoving at him, but Chet stays strong and keeps his feet set, and is therefore still able to put a great contest on the shot, and it's a miss. He uses that natural size a lot here as well. Here he builds a wall in front of the rim, and the shooter can't find any good angle past or through Chet, so it's just another miss. On top of that, he's not fearful at all, rising up with players all the time to try and block their shots. Look at here how he not only disrupts Oche's attempt at the rim, but then still sends it with both hands right when he's at the rim. Or here, he shows no fear getting right in Keontae George's way and is able to get up and swat it back to his team. Or in this play against the Grizzlies, he loads up and meets the dunker right at the apex of his jump, gets a hand on it, and the dunk is no good. This fearlessness mixed with his natural physical tools means regardless of weight class, opposing offenses aren't going to be able to find good shots at the rim consistently. Later in that game against the Jazz, he just obliterates Keontae George again, stuffing the shot straight down before it can even leave George's hands. In a similar vein, he sees the diving Magic player here and meets his shot before it can even leave his hands again, and it's another great block. He really loves pinning shots, waiting for the offensive player to go up just so he can shove it right into the glass. Look here how he's almost like a shark waiting for his prey, leaping right when the shooter goes up just to slam it against the backboard. I think this instinct he has shows a lot on the defensive end. It continuously works in his favor. Like how in this play he tracks his body with O'Shea before once again jumping right when he needs to just barely not pin this shot but still block it. In this one, he speeds up to catch the player in transition, loads up, and then jumps right after him and pushes the shot right into the glass for an easy transition block. He looked like a bit of a menace in the fast break, consistently getting some really impressive fast break blocks. Look at how he goes from basket to basket in this play, still being able to once again send this shot and deny the easy layup. In almost every way, Chet already looks like he's going to be one of the better shot blockers in the NBA right out of the gate. In general, he looks like he could be one of the better defenders in the league from a very early point in his career. He knows where to be and is constantly locked in on the defensive end. He has really solid footwork, and despite his size, he isn't actually that movable, staying firm behind the offensive player. And when he is punished for his weight, his 7'6" wingspan has meant that he can reach around and still get a tip on the ball, stretching out and firmly disrupting shots. A lot of these tools and skills don't just directly translate to the box score either. They're just the intangibles we expect from some of the better defenders in the league. His timing is excellent. He doesn't consistently overdo jump, which a lot of young NBA big men do, jumping at any opportunity, good or bad, that they can. Chet plays more like a confident vet in that regard, biting for a shot only when the opportunity is right. He's a really talented disruptor, jumping into pass and lob lanes to deny the big man from even getting a real hand on the ball. Here he noses the lob to Lively and just skies up in front of Lively to tip the pass before it reaches, so Lively can't get a good grip on it in Thunder possession. I like here versus the Mavs as well. You can see that footwork I was talking about earlier. He's late to the play but recovers really well, and most importantly, stays pretty tight on the guard he's defending, and once again uses his crazy wingspan to get a great contest on the jump shot, and it's no good. Chet's defensive mechanics as a whole are really solid and advanced for a rookie and someone his age. He reminds me a bit of Walker Kessler last year, a bit in his play style, but more in the sense that he's going to come in and immediately have an incredible defensive impact. It genuinely would not surprise me if he snuck his name into all defensive talks. I want to touch on some areas of offense that I think Chet will also be a huge improvement for the Thunder in. The Thunder are 16th in pick and roll ball handler points per possession, and all the way down 27th in pick and roll man points per possession. I think this is pretty easily attributable to the Thunder's lack of a real big man. It's something Chet should immediately solve. Chet is actually a really solid screener, looking here in the play versus the Grizzlies, how much space his screen creates for the shooter here, and a lot of Chet's screens actually result in him diving towards the basket, slipping through to find some pretty nice pockets of space. Here, he fakes a solid screen and dives right into an easy look in the paint, and a better passer like Shea or Giddey will find him on these plays. Here, it's a quick almost screen action, but he immediately dives again, and there's no defenders around him to stop him for just an easy lob. I can't emphasize enough how much Chet loves this action, and how many great looks he'll get when he's surrounded by star-level passers who can find those perfect angles to get him easy buckets at the rim. In general, Chet's offensive game is going to be a huge upgrade, and his ability as a lob finisher and even ball handling threat will make Thunder a much more versatile offense. Although he isn't perfect at putting the ball on the court, he's already one of the better big men in this department, and it seems like something he wants to continue working on and going to. The last positive part of Chet's game, and the most obvious upgrade for the Thunder so far, is how good Chet will be as a rebounder. The Thunder were 14th in total rebounds per game with 43.7, 30th in opponent rebounds per game, allowing 46.6, 29th in opponent rebounds per game at 12, they are 13th in second chance points a game at 13.9, and 30th in opponent second chance points a game at 15.5. The Thunder have a hard time denying their opponents rebounds and securing them themselves, and Chet showed flashes of being a great rebounder in Summer League. Here against the Pacers, he's able to one-hand snatch the rebound down and get it back up with a tough take, or versus the Jazz, he misses this layup that he probably shouldn't have, but gets the board and then goes right back up with it, and this time it's good. Finally, here against the Grizzlies, he uses his length to tip up a rebound he has no business getting, secures it, and strongly goes up for the putback dunk. And he isn't scared to put the ball on the floor. In this play, he gets the big to bite on the pump, and he takes it to the rim for a tough layup. He isn't perfect in this department. He can actually be a bit awkward at times, but he isn't scared to try like I mentioned, and he's honestly pretty good considering his height. Chet still has a lot of areas to grow though, and it's clear he lacks a bit of experience. Here, he's clearly not as confident as he should be dribbling like I said, and it's an easy steal for Keontae George. Here, he has a good initial disruption, but it's clear he's a bit lost and has to foul the shooter to contest. But he will grow and learn, and he's willing to. Here, he does a switch or even hedge, and that makes it an easy bucket for the Jazz, but only 30 seconds later in the game, he learns and adjusts, forcing a pass out of the drive. He's more than willing to learn, and all the mechanics and raw skills are already there. Chet could easily be the piece that makes the Thunder turn into a borderline playoff lock as soon as this upcoming season. And I, for one, think that he is the missing piece to this Thunder core. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thank you for watching, and peace.